My name's Shaune Harrison, and I'm a prosthetic makeup artist, designer, and I've been in the industry for about 25 years now. And I've just recently opened up a makeup school in Manchester, Salford Quays, which kind of trying to show the expertise in prosthetics, teaching more than straight makeup stuff. So it's kind of my new venture for this part of my career. It's nice. It's good. Originally from the Wirral, moved to London, and this feels like my home a bit more. It's great because Manchester is just smaller for me, which is great. So I can get around town a lot more, and I'm getting to meet a lot more people actually because there isn't a prosthetics place really in the northwest. So I've had a lot of good kind of PR stuff happening and things like that. So it's quite exciting to be here, and obviously kind of work with the print works as well, which is brilliant because the print works have been the people that kind of been pushing me a lot with Carl Whiteley. And Carl's been kind of very supportive of me, and obviously inviting me to the Star Wars Day today has been brilliant. So yeah, can't thank him enough for that. I would never say I'm never going to leave films forever. I mean, I'm 45 now, so I kind of thought I've done 25 years in the film industry. I kind of finish on a big one, which is like the Avengers sequel. I kind of felt it's the right time, because otherwise you can kind of carry on and carry on, and I can hit my 50s and stuff. And for me personally, it's more of a younger person's job doing prosthetics because of the hours and stuff. The long days. I like teaching. I mean, I kind of teach when you're on Harry Potter. You don't realize it, but you actually teach people as you're doing stuff. And I've been asked a few times to teach, and I just felt the time's right now to kind of take a break from doing film work. And I have turned down about a year's work by doing it. So I've finished early on Avengers. I was doing something on a new Peter Pan film, which I left early. I was offered to go back on the new Game of Thrones series up till Christmas, so another 7 months I've turned down. So it's not as if I don't have work. I just kind of thought it felt right at that point, and I kind of gave myself a deadline of a year in advance, and that year came, and I had to make that decision. And and I've got a lot of friends in London who kind of really supported me on it and say it's a big step for me. It's a big move for people to kind of jump out of something that you earn. You can earn a decent wage on, but I just felt it's either now or never. So that was, but I never say never. You never know. A couple of years time, someone may say, "Do you want to come and do this?" And if there's nothing happening with my school, or but the idea is to expand my school and just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's kind of my main reasons for it. The school is, say it's just open. It's got the website, which can I say the website? Or yeah, it's www.shauneharrisonacademy.com. It's a long word, yeah, and I just want people to kind of just have a look at it. And if there's all different types of courses and classes. From 1 day to a 2 day to a 1 week to a 2 week to a 6 week. And I'm doing lots of master classes where I'll show people how to do prosthetics. So I'll do the makeups, and people can take the notes, and then if they're interested in doing a course, they can come on board. And but it's me teaching. That's where I want to kind of tell people. They're going to have me teaching them. So the idea is I can pass on 25 years of experience to somebody, and I'll teach them the most up to date ways of doing prosthetics and creatures and stuff like that. I worked on Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace, and I did a character called Bib Fortuna, which is from Return of the Jedi in Jabba the Hutt's palace. And I recreated that character. I did a lot of background characters. I did kind of squid heads and stuff like that, kind of tons of the creatures that fill that universe. I also was partly responsible for doing a bit of Jar Jar Binks as well. I sculpted some of the costume. It was a totally digital character, but we always had a costume on set. So I worked on Phantom Menace and then Attack of the Clones, because they do a lot of reshoots in the UK for those films. And I worked on that at Ealing Studios for about 3 weeks, just doing kind of filling in the gaps really, because they'd already shot that in Australia. So that was kind of my connections with the Star Wars movies. I mean, as a kid growing up, Star Wars kind of changed my life. I was 9 when the first Star Wars came out in '77, and and I'd worked on Fifth Element as well. So my boss, Nick Dudman, went straight on Fifth Element. We actually did a film in between, did a thing called Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And then when Nick had mentioned he got Star Wars, it was kind of like, that's insane, you know. And we knew where it was being shot. It was all being shot in the UK at a studio called Leavesden. But no, it was an amazing thing to do, because for me it's like my childhood dream kind of growing up was to work on Star Wars and also meet people like George Lucas. So that was kind of a bit weird when he came in the workshop the first time to look at all our creatures, because we had about 2 months pre-production time and everything was kind of pre-designed. You know, for something like Star Wars, it's all designed about a year ahead of yourself. But I did get to design one of the Jedi Council members, which was quite cool. And that was something that George wanted the creature department to take on. I think there was about 12 in the film, but we got to design 4 of them. And I did a character called Sai Tin, which was kind of the one with the horns that come down here. So that was my kind of contribution to the Jedi Council as well, which was cool. Obviously, when I was 8 or 9, I didn't know. I mean, I was always into stuff like that. I was always into fantasy stuff, and Ray Harryhausen was one of my massive heroes, and I'd met him a few times since. But I didn't know how to get into it. I'm from kind of just a normal background, and I didn't have any help. No one's kind of helped me. I just kind of started making stuff. So when I was about 11, 12, it was actually Return of the Jedi. When I was 14, I kind of made me really want to make monsters, because before that it was more about spaceships and stuff. But yeah, Return of the Jedi was the one thing that kind of catapulted me to go, I want to make cool creatures, and it was Phil Tippett's and people like that, and Stuart Freeborn, and my boss Nick Dudman, because Nick worked on Return of the Jedi. In fact, he worked on Empire Strikes Back, and I then recreating his makeup, because he did Bib Fortuna in Return of the Jedi. I got to recreate that character again in Phantom Menace, which was quite surreal for both me and Nick, because Nick's seen it after 20 years, and me recreating his makeup was yeah. But I mean, you know, Star Wars it's one of those things I've always wanted to work on and stuff, and obviously they're doing a new one now and things, so which is, yeah, interesting as well. J.J. Abrams is a fantastic director. I just hope they keep it in the same style. That's my, you know, but I know it's a lot more practical. I've got a lot of friends working on it at the moment. And weirdly, I was kind of offered to work on it, and I turned it down because I was already on another movie. I was on a film called The Avengers Age of Ultron, and I'd started that, and then a couple of weeks later, I got a call for Star Wars, but you can't jump ship. So, but you know, I kind of thought, well, I've done Star Wars, so it wasn't as kind of as upsetting as it was. You know, a lot of people are desperate to get onto a new Star Wars film, but I just, you know, I thought, well, I've done the one with George Lucas, so you know. But I think no, I think he's going to do an amazing. I think he has to. I don't think there's no way you can't fail something like that. It's going to be a pretty cool movie. Fingers crossed. I mean, it's nice when you see the creatures and people take all the effort and stuff, because I know how hard it is to do that, and you know, and I love seeing kind of stormtroopers around and stuff like that, and people doing all their costumes. It's pretty impressive stuff, and it's nice if someone tries to recreate something that you've done. It's cool. I mean, I love Star Wars. I've always been a Star Wars fan, so to kind of come to these things is brilliant, and kind of see all the fans that love it as well. You know, because I'm one of them. I'm a fan too. I still kind of get giddy and stuff, and I still love the whole idea. As soon as the music starts up, it's kind of something. You know, it's such an iconic thing as part of my childhood to kind of then see this and then see people coming through, and you know, young kids kind of wanting to kind of see Star Wars again. It's brilliant. It's an amazing thing. Kind of just wandering around and meeting people and just chatting to people. I mean, I've got lots of kind of stories from when I worked on Star Wars. 'Cause I was on the Phantom Menace for about 8 months. We did a bit in Tunisia. um, we shot a bit out there and stuff, and but most of my stuff was all shot in the studio. So it's kind of nice to see, you know, people want to know about those type of things. It's kind of interesting because it's you know, this is going back 17 years now. We started 2 years before it got released. And we actually finished all the films, and then those films were released before Star Wars came out because it took so long to make. But yeah, I'm just going to have a wander around and just kind of see all the stalls and and I kind of want to get photos with stormtroopers as well. I mean, for me, with the the most coolest thing was kind of seeing Frank Oz on sets and seeing Yoda and seeing him perform Yoda. Even though the Yoda puppet we made was different to the one that was done for Empire Strikes Back, I mean, that for me was kind of one of the most iconic things for me, was to see Frank Oz, because I had my character on set for the Jedi Council. And in fact, a lot of the crew came on set who weren't even working. A lot of the actors who weren't working all came on for that first day because they all wanted to watch Frank Oz perform Yoda. And I think he got quite nervous about the idea that this was him coming back after 20 years and redoing that character. So no, it was hard work. We had to make so many creatures, and we also had creatures from the original films. Some of them were in really bad condition, so we'd kind of have to patch those up. But I just remember the first day when all the crates turned up from Lucasfilm, and we were opening them. It's like, that's an R2D2, that's C3PO, and it was kind of very weird for me to see them for real after as a kid watching them, and then you could pinpoint which ones were which. So, we had one of the R2D2s from the first Star Wars film because he had his little restraining bolt thing on, so that was kind of a cool thing. And I just kind of was very geeky with all that stuff, but it was like we were taking the heads out and then we had to recreate them. So I was doing things like squid head and different types on the Jabba the Hutt's palace. We had a load of those that we recreated. But it was a nice experience to kind of, and it was kind of one of those things you couldn't kind of freak yourself out when you're on set. And that was the one thing I found really hard was, I'd been in the industry for about 10 years when I'd worked on the Phantom Menace, and I just kept thinking, this is way surreal for me. This is weird for me. Seeing George Lucas, seeing certain actors and stuff like that, and obviously as soon as I saw R2D2 moving around, I'm like, that is just the weirdest experience. But no, it was a really cool, hard shoot as well. It was hard because they were kind of breaking new ground in technology, and I think a lot of time no one really knew how things were going to work, especially things like Jar Jar. That's why we had the suit every day. So every day on set, Armored Best had to wear that costume just in case it wasn't going to be a fully digital suit or it was going to be a prosthetic and stuff. So, he had to go through that every single day, even though no one knew what the final result was going to be. We did see tests. We saw a few kind of simple tests, digital tests, but it was kind of the infancy when digital was just coming to its point where it was quite an amazing thing to see, though. But no, it was a brilliant experience. I mean, it's different studios. Even though Disney are doing Star Wars and Marvel is kind of owned by Disney, it's a totally different thing. I mean, what we do the same. Wherever workshop you're in, you kind of do for the same techniques and stuff. But every film has elements of being the same because you see the same crews a lot of the time. So you can go and work on, I did the Harry Potter, so you can go from Harry Potter and then you can do Fifth Element, or you do a different type, and you do meet the same crew. So there is a certain look to a film, but no, I mean, it's at the end of the day, you go in, you do your job, and if you're lucky enough to go on set and stuff, it's kind of the same formula from filmmaking. There's no massive difference apart from the actual sets. And the director and stuff like that. But I've done a couple. I did Captain America: First Avenger, which was really cool. I mean, I have to admit, I'm not a massive comic book fan. I don't read that many comics. I was more into films, so which a lot of people get really shocked when I tell them that. But no, I just love doing. I just like making monsters, regardless if it's in a TV show, a low budget movie, or a big budget movie. It's kind of the same system, really, same way you make stuff. A lot of them's pre-designed. I mean, I only worked on series 4, so and I only worked on the last 4 episodes of series 4, because I was doing another film. I was doing Dracula Untold, the new kind of retelling of that for Universal, and you kind of get taken on. I have to admit, I've never watched the other episode series of Game of Thrones, but that doesn't really matter so much because you kind of get what you get designs done. So sometimes you design them, like the Whites, the zombie characters. We designed our own zombies, and it's down to your experience and stuff. And definitely with the White Walkers, they were already done in the first film, a first series. So you just come back in and you kind of upgrade them. And it's what they kind of wanted for Series 4. They wanted an upgrade anyway. So it's a whole different makeup company that took on board that. And you kind of, you kind of streamline stuff a lot. It's all about getting things done quickly nowadays. You can't sit for 4 or 5 hours doing prosthetics, because otherwise you're in at 3 in the morning, and it's day after day after day. It's quite hard. But you just kind of, you try and do the best you can, and as fast as you can a lot of the time. Again, it's kind of, I was lucky that I worked with Nick Dudman, and Nick had done obviously Fifth Element and Star Wars, and I just stayed with Nick, and we did the Mummy and things. And then when Nick got to do Harry Potter, we were just employed again. And then we didn't know the first film that we were going to do 8 movies. If we did, we would have kind of probably thought more about how you do stuff. But at the time, you just don't know until the first film came out. And then I think by number 3, we kind of thought, well, we're here to long run. But crews changed a lot, and there was only 6 of us from the creatures department who did all the 8 movies. And I think there's a crew of about 600-700 over the whole movies of creature departments. So. Nick just likes what we do, and he just employs on the next one, and he knows we're capable of doing everything. Because we had a background where we kind of sculpt, we do our own thing. We would sculpt it, we make the molds, we do the prosthetics, we do the silicons, and we apply them. We kind of become more of an all-rounder. I enjoyed directing short films. I did it in between every Harry Potter. I did my first one after Harry Potter 4, and then in between every one, I had saved up some money, and I kind of wanted to direct, and I actually did some directing on a couple of features. I did some on Hellraiser 4. I directed some special effects scenes, and then I worked on Sleepy Hollow, and I got to direct the sequence with Johnny Depp for the Tree of the Dead, which was quite nice. And I kind of just thought, something I'm interested in doing, but it's so hard. It's so hard to go from a short film to a feature, and I'm still writing. I've written about 5 features. I've had a couple of them optioned, but it's a whole different ball game trying to get that off the ground than trying to do short. Anyone can do a short film, I think, but it's trying to get that scene, and I've won about 20 awards for the shorts, which is great again. But it's just it's time. It's trying to devote time to from a school to that to other things. There isn't enough time in the day, unfortunately. But I'd love to in the future if I get the opportunity. It's not released for another 10 months. So there was one character that I was working on, which I can't really talk about, unfortunately. It is probably out there on the internet and stuff, but I don't want to get into trouble. But I kind of worked on one character for 6 months as a prosthetic. So but it's cool. It was an amazing thing. I have to admit, to be on set and see all the actors was quite surreal. Again, one of those things where you kind of see Captain America and Thor and Iron Man and the Hulk and Black Widow and a whole bunch of new characters and stuff in it. It was quite a cool project to do, and that was all at Shepperton again, where we shot Captain America. But there's one character I was working on, which hopefully next year you'll be seen. He'll be a digital makeup. There's going to be a lot of interaction with digital stuff and stuff like that. But it isn't Ultron. That's what I'm saying. I'm not doing the Ultron character. That's a totally CG thing. But you'll hopefully see next May.